Hi there and welcome to the Met Office forecast for the week ahead. There will be some spectacular contrasts across the UK during the next few days. Now, most of us were in the same boat at the weekend. We had mild air from the southwest, what we call a tropical maritime air mass that brought a lot of cloud, temperatures in the teens in places, and it brought some rainfall, especially across the west and northwest. But colder air waits to the north and the far north at the time of recording. That colder air bringing some snow to the far north of Scotland, but it will try to edge further south. And this is an Arctic maritime air mass. It's going to come increasingly from the Arctic with northerly winds bumping up against these southwesterly winds, and this really quite interesting temperature contrast across the UK from temperatures in the teens in the far south, temperatures in the low single figures in the far north. In between, we've got weather fronts, and one weather front in particular into Thursday will push up, again bringing a return to that milder air from the southwest in some places, but as it also brings a spell of rain, that rain's likely to mix with the cold air to bring, in some places, the risk of disruptive snowfall, most likely across central parts of the UK, whilst the far north remains in the cold air and the far south remains in the very mild air. And it's that battleground across central parts where we're likely to see the significant and in places disruptive snow. More on that in a moment, before eventually later in the week the cold air begins to win out, most likely into the weekend. But rewinding the clock to the time of recording, and we start Tuesday with outbreaks of rain across central parts. Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England, as well as parts of North Wales seeing a wet start to the day. The rain edges south. It's heavy and persistent over parts of Wales and northwest England for a time. The far south stays largely dry, a lot of cloud cover, a keen southwesterly breeze bringing very mild air. But the far north sees wintry showers, perhaps some slippery surfaces first thing, an ice warning in force until 9 a.m. But those sleet and snow showers continue across the north and northwest of Scotland, one or two making their way into central parts of Scotland. And it's going to feel cold with a brisk wind coming from the north and temperatures in the mid-single figures at best. But some bright weather in between and some decent sunshine developing into the afternoon for Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and northern England after that damp start. Here's the resting place across central parts of the weather front with outbreaks of rain at the end of Tuesday afternoon. But by the start of Wednesday, that's pushed south so that it's really across the far south we're going to see those outbreaks of rain and staying mild. These are the temperatures at dawn on Wednesday, 7 or 8 Celsius in the far south. But further north, clear skies, the cold air now prevalent across much of the UK, and across Northern Ireland, Northern England, Scotland, a widespread frost with temperatures a few degrees below freezing. And some of these wintry showers also affecting the north and west of Scotland and increasingly parts of Northern Ireland through the day on Wednesday. Generally rain and sleet around the coast and snow inland perhaps, and especially over hills. And those sleet and snow showers also affecting much of the west of Scotland at times. But bright skies away from the showers across northern parts of the UK and even across some of these central parts, northern England into the Midlands, Wales and East Anglia. Some bright spells emerging, but it will feel colder compared with Tuesday. Now, in the far south and southwest, we've got outbreaks of rain, and here's where it gets interesting. Those outbreaks of rain will try and push north again. This weather front marking the boundary between the Arctic weather and the tropical maritime weather, and where these two air masses meet, we're going to see a spell of snow. But the exact position of that snow currently subject to a little bit of uncertainty, and that will make a big difference, of course, in this country when it comes to snow. Now, we start Thursday with outbreaks of heavy and persistent rain across South Wales, the south and southwest of England. Could cause some issues, actually, that wet weather continuing through much of the day. In the far north, really from the central belt northwards, we're going to see a bright start, a widespread frost, but bright spells continuing through much of the day with some sleet and snow showers in the far north and northwest. It's in between across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England, into the Midlands, parts of mid Wales, where we're likely to see this area of rain edging north through the day and mixing with the cold air to turn to snow in places. But the precise location, subject to some uncertainty at the moment. So the far south, very mild, 11, 12, 13 Celsius. The far north, staying cold, but in between a spell of rain, sleet and snow in places. And what we reckon at the moment, most likely area for disruptive snow is within this yellow zone. We could see a centimetre or two at lower levels. Now, centimetre or two at lower levels around Birmingham would of course cause issues, given it's a busy part of the UK, but that's far from certain. The most likely area for disruptive snow is for higher parts of this yellow zone. So the mountains of mid to North Wales and northern England, 2 to 5 centimetres above 200 metres and 5 to 10 centimetres above 400 metres. Could affect some Transpennine routes, for example, and cause some issues throughout Thursday. But equally, the snow could be a bit further north into southern Scotland and Northern Ireland if that weather front just edges slightly further north. Likewise, it could come a little bit further south as well. However, at the moment, it's this yellow zone that is deemed the greatest risk of impacts from any falling and disruptive snowfall. Either way, that front does tend to stick around for some time into Friday. Again, the north-south position of this is unclear. And the next step, whether this low pulls away and allows the cold air to push south quite quickly into Friday, or whether another low stalls it and brings a return to milder air further north. Again, this is subject to uncertainty, but this is the most likely scenario for now. We start Friday with a widespread frost across northern parts of the UK, temperatures well below freezing where we've got some snow cover. Further wintry showers into the northeast of the UK, but bright spells away from these, whilst further cloud and outbreaks of mostly rain will affect the far south with temperatures here in the double figures. And you can see again significant temperature contrasts up and down the country. So the position of weather fronts on Friday will be key to determining the details for your specific location. But the general trend into the weekend is a bit clearer actually compared with the details for Thursday and Friday. And that general trend is for the mild air in the south to tend to slip away, with colder air becoming much more widespread up and down the UK. Mostly dry as higher pressure builds to the west, but always the chance with some wintry showers across the north and the east of the UK. Again, still some uncertainty about exactly how much the mild air will hang on to the south, because of course it's not too far away, and that very sharp temperature contrast remains heading into the weekend between the north and the south. So we'll keep you updated right here. You can find those updates on YouTube, but for now, that's all from me. Bye-bye.